Hello guys, in this video I'm going to configure the remote access VPN of Checkpoint SMB Firewall. So what is remote access VPN? So remote access VPN is a secure VPN solutions that provide users with a remote access to the organization network. So the host may have VPN client software loaded or that's mean installed. So once this VPN client installed and configure the remote access VPN, those users are able to access the organization internal network resources. So why we require this remote access solutions? Because some of users may be work from home, right? Then also some of users are roaming users. They are going to the outside and those users are maybe go abroad. So when the users are on the abroad, they require some secure access solutions to access the organization network. So that's why required the remote access VPN. So let me go to this whiteboard. So in here actually I'll explain about the network here. You can see this Windows 10. I'm going to install the remote access VPN client here. Then I'll configure the remote access VPN settings of this Checkpoint SMB firewall. Once this established, the secure tunnel will be established between this Windows 10 and the Checkpoint firewall. Then these users are able to access these internal resources, maybe this LAN network or server network they can able to access. So this kind of a configuration you require the public ISP connection here. So if you don't have the public static IP, then you can configure the dynamic DNS settings of Checkpoint firewall. Okay, so I'm in this example, so I have this public static IP. You can see the 123.231.44.91. So this is my one of ISP connection, ISP1 connection. You can see the 192.168.8.1. So I have that broadband connection. In that case, I require to forward this traffic, that mean this VPN traffic to Checkpoint firewall, that mean VPN firewall. Okay, so here actually my Checkpoint firewall running on the VMware workstation. So the my WAN interface is as per this lab setup. You can see 192.168.8.254. So I need to forward, as a first step I need to forward this VPN traffic to this 8.25 from this my ISP router. So if I go to my ISP router here, you can see I can log into my ISP router. So I can access from my host machine this ISP router 192.168.8.1. Okay, you can see the 8.1 here. Okay, so let me log into my ISP router. Then you require to come to the under the firewall here. Okay, so based on your router that these settings may change. So you require to go to the port forwarding settings here. Okay, so you can see the port forwarding settings is enabled here. Okay, and then I require to forward certain VPN traffic on the Checkpoint firewall. That means SMB firewall. So this remote access VPN connection is listening on the port 443. In that case, that means the port 443, TCP 443 is used for this remote access VPN. Let me enter the source port as a 443 here. So destination IP will be my Checkpoint SMB firewall WAN interface. Here I'm going to add 8.254 and destination port. So I'm not going to change because this port is listening on the Checkpoint SMB firewall 443 for the remote access VPN. You can see the protocol TCP plus UDP, and this one is remote access VPN. So I can apply these settings. Okay, this okay. So let me apply this configuration right now. You can see this current virtual server in system. So this is configured. So the first step is configured. So let's me go to this Checkpoint firewall configuration. So I can go to the IT1 here. I need to log in of this machine. Okay, so let me, so if I go to the what's my IP here, you can see what 123.231.44.91, that's my public IP here. Okay, so I can go to the Checkpoint firewall configuration here. Actually guys, so you required that VPN license to configure that remote access VPN. Okay, that is you require to keep it remember. So you require the licensing for this one. So if I go to the licensing, you can see I have this IPsec VPN here. And again, so if I go to this security dashboard here, you can see the under the VPN settings. So I have this VPN blade. So here actually, so you can turn on and turn off this the blade using this under the security dashboard. Okay, so you can see the trial license is enabled here. So you require the license to have this remote access VPN, that is you require to keep it remember. So let me go to this VPN. Okay, and then you can see the remote access here under the blade control. So you require to turn on this remote access VPN here. Okay, and then so you can see no local users and groups are defined in the VPN remote access permission. So still we didn't create any local users here. Okay, so in this example I'm going to create one local user here. Okay, and so if you have that authenticated server, that mean AD server, then you can use that AD groups, that mean AD user groups to this remote access users also. For example, if I go to the users and object here, so under the users you will see that these are AD groups. So if you want to this AD groups as a part of this SSL, that means remote access VPN, okay, you can tick this one, remote access VPN. Then that automatically this that group will be added to the remote access VPN group. So this tick you require to put in, and then you require to apply those settings. Okay, but in this example I'm going to use that one local users here. Okay, so let me go to create one local user first. Okay, so you can go to here, and I will add this username as a David. Let me configure some password for this user, and then keep it remember you require to put this one remote access permission, and then click apply. Okay, you can see that user is created. So if I come to this VPN remote access users, you can see David is there. Okay, and if you go to the blade control now, you can see one user now created here. Okay, and then here guys, let me go to access policy here. Okay, so I'm going to use this access policy control as a standard policy. Okay, so once you created this standard, then automatically this SSL VPN the remote access VPN rule will be created on the Checkpoint Firewall. Okay, that is you require to keep it remember. Okay, that simply you can use that SSL VPN traffic using the automatic policies will be created under the Checkpoint Firewall when you set to standard mode. Okay, and let me click standard here. Let me click apply. Okay, so then if you go to that remote access policy again, and then you will see that under the incoming internal and VPN traffic. Okay, so this auto generated rule is created here. You can see VPN remote access, any destination, any service allowed here. This one is auto generated policy based on your settings. So based on your selection here under the standard, that policy is created. Okay, so if I double click this one, you can see remote access VPN is selected here. That is default object for this remote access VPN. Okay, so any sources as part of the remote access VPN is included under this default object. You don't require to create any additional resources here, because once you selected VPN remote access, then that traffic will be coming to your Checkpoint Firewall. So if you require, if you want, you can create manually SSL VPN policies also. For example, on the top you can create under the source, you require to select this default object VPN remote access. Then you can select any destination here, allowing only specific targets. You can select there. Then you can only allow certain services only for this remote access users. Okay, then you can click apply. That's how you create manual rules here. Okay, that part I'm not going to use because I'm using this auto generated roles here. Okay, let me go to explain again this remote access here. So we have turn on, we have created one users, and then based on the access policy configuration, that automatic VPN role is configured. Okay, then if you go down below, you can see the VPN remote access users can connect via this Checkpoint VPN client. You can enable and disable these things, and also the mobile client. That means if you have Android or iOS, you can connect to this through the remote access. You can connect to your internal resources. Okay, again this Checkpoint VPN client is using the IPsec tunnel. Okay, IPsec protocols will be used for this remote access VPN. So if you want to use that SSL, general SSL VPN, you can also configure this remote SSL VPN and Windows VPN client also. By default, it's better the Checkpoint VPN client because it's more secure than more recommended way to connect this remote access VPN through the Checkpoint VPN clients. Okay, and then if you go to that advanced settings here, okay, and you will see that this office mode, and then you can see the remote access VPN networks. That means by default when you connect from the remote access client from any other PC, so that PC will get by default IP address ranges from this. Okay, so you can change this IP address changes. For example, once it's connected remote access VPN client, so it will get 172.16.10 range IP to that particular remote access client. Okay, so you can change or you can customize these things if you want, but I'm not going to change this network. And also you can see the certificate installation. You can see automatically use the last install certificate. So because that certificate is required for this connection, that means VPN connection, the automatic install certification is used. Or else you can use manually a VPN certificate also, but so I'm using this automatically use the last install certificate. Okay, and then you can see if you want, you can route the internet traffic also this Checkpoint firewall, but that is not a better solution, because so if you are working from home, that means if you require to internet access, that traffic also going through that VPN tunnel, but it will create a bottleneck. Okay, that is not recommended. So only you can use that particular required traffic, that means required internal resources traffic to the remote access VPN. That is better. Otherwise, it will create a bottleneck. All the traffic will be go towards your Checkpoint firewall. Because if you enable the internet access also, that's mean, so this Windows 10 machines, if they browse the internet, that traffic also going through this tunnel, and it will go use this head office networks internet connection. This generally it will very slow connections, because all the traffic will be going through this tunnel and going towards these routers. In this case, I'm going to access only the certain traffic, that means server traffic to server traffic and this internal LAN traffic to the head office. Okay, and let me go to this one. So you can see DNS settings also you can configure for that remote access VPN. So SSL VPN bookmark also you can configure. This one is is another option, SSL VPN bookmarks. So in this case, you don't require to install any VPN client software on the remote machine. So you can use the web-based browser portal to access certain internal resources using this SSL VPN bookmarks. So I'm not going to configure this one here. Okay, so okay guys, we have enabled this remote access VPN. So we configure the one particular user, and then we have default options is I'm going to use this Checkpoint VPN client here. Then again under the access policy, okay, so under the blade control I have set to this standard mode. Then automatic VPN rule is created like this. Then only thing is we require to configure on the remote site. Okay, actually I have another PC, okay, that is completely different internet connection. this one. So I'm going to I can connect this remote PC using the AnyDesk, so I'm going to install the Checkpoint VPN client on this PC, and then I'll try to connect. Okay, and let me go to this one. This is the internet browser, so I require to download the Checkpoint VPN software here. Checkpoint remote access VPN software, download. You can search on the Google. Okay, you can see the remote access VPN software. Okay, here the Checkpoint websites. You can download the VPN here. Okay, you can see the Windows and Macs remote access client for Windows and Mac here, and here you can see the supported OSs, that means Windows 7, 8, 10 and 11. So I can use this download button to download the software. Let me download this one. You can see the Checkpoint VPN MSIs, that means client is downloading. So I can click this open. So it's executable file. So let's wait. You can see it's going to prepare the installation. So we can it asks the installer to run here. So let me minimize this one. So you can see welcome back to Checkpoint VPN installation wizard. We can click next. Okay, so here you can see the different options here. You can see the endpoint security VPN. So that included, that is the recommended thing. So this actually it will check the actually the endpoint health status also, if there is any viruses, and if there is this checkpoint this Windows faces have the updates also. Likewise, it will check the endpoint security also in this client. And also you can see the Checkpoint mobile version here, and the remote access client. This one is thin remote access, only connect certain VPN software only, does not install that security part here. So but I'm going to install this endpoint security VPN here, and let me click next. So I can accept the license agreement, so I can install here. You can see the install in Checkpoint VPN. So we can wait once it's installed. So you can see installing the virtual network adapter. Once you install this Checkpoint VPN software, that's mean the virtual network adapter also going to install. So once it's connected, so it will receive the IP addresses from the Checkpoint firewall, that means DSCP. It will receive the VPN, that means remote access IP addresses. Okay, from the 172.16.10 range, that is the default IP range. So on the under the advanced settings of this settings. Okay, and if I go to here, so you can see that configuration here. So under the advanced setting, you will see 172.16.10 dot range is going to use for the this remote access VPN. Okay, so this one is completed, so I can finish the settings. You can see the icon, okay, Checkpoint the VPN software here. So you can actually go to this VPN option here, and then here actually you can let me use that original here. Stretch one is better. Okay, so you can use that here to create the site here. Okay, so you can go to the new here, click new, and this site wizard is open. You can click next here. Okay, and you can see the server address or the name. In this case, you require to enter the public IP address of your Checkpoint firewall. You can see the public IP address of mine 123.231.4.4 and 91. 123.231.4.4 and 91. Okay, keep it remember guys to if you have broadband connection, you require to port forward to your Checkpoint Firewall WAN interface. So I have entered this IP address, public IP address. Let me click next, and you can see the resolving site name is connecting, so you can wait. So you can see that here, okay guys, it will ask that the VPN profile here. Okay, so you can see the default profile is selected here. We can click next, and keep it remember guys, you can you require to use this username and password here, because we created username and password. So we can click next, and you can see the site created successfully. Okay, so it asks, would you like to connect? Yes. Okay, and then you require to put the username and password here. Okay, so we created one user here. Okay, so if you go to the users and object, so we have created the local user David. Okay, so we can go to again here, so username as the David, and then his password. So we can click connect. Okay, you can see user David is authenticated. Loading the virtual network adapter. You can see the connection is succeeded. Here you can see the right side, this connection is succeeded. Then actually, so we can open CMD here, so we can test the connectivity. So while it I start in that CMD here, so we can go to Checkpoint Firewall. Okay, so under the VPN, the connected remote access here, so you can check here. You can see the David is connected successfully, and we can see the IP address 172.16.10.1. so this IP address is in from the DHCP of this Checkpoint remote access settings. Okay, you can see the connection time and the next authentication time. Okay, so while it it will so the user is authenticated successfully, so we can check the connectivity. So we can try to ping this internal server 192.168.10.10 here. Okay, so let me go to CMD here, and you can see the 10.10. You can see ping successfully. Okay, so we can minimize this one, and again we can check the RDP here. Okay, so we can use the run ms tsc, and so under the computer here, so we can use 192.168.10.10, that is internal server. Okay, so we can use the connect here, and you can see it's us here. So we can see that you can use the different account here. Okay, and we can use the administrator, and credentials here. You can see it's successfully authenticated, and we are able to log into our internal server here. Password is wrong, so we can use the elab here. You can see it's successfully authenticated, and we can able to log in here. Okay, and so meanwhile actually we can go to the Checkpoint Firewall. We can check the logs here. You can see let me go to here. You can see the David here. Okay, so we can search using the David here. You can see the VPN blade is using, and its interface is WAN. It's coming from the WAN interface, and the action is decrypt. That means encrypted connection and decrypted from the Checkpoint Firewall. And you can see the source and destination and the service. So these logs will be you can able to see. So that's mean we have successfully connected use and we have successfully configured and connected the remote access VPN. So, and hope you guys clear about this video. Thank you very much.